Just taking a moment of silence just to ingather within before we start the reading today. So, if I'm not wrong, we had talked around page 34. Yeah, so today we have to start with this new one, interchange with the environment. Yeah, so let's take it up. Anyone who would like to read it out aloud for all of us, please go ahead.
Yeah, Monica, I'll go.
Yes, Sharada, please.
Yeah. Interchange with the environment. Thus, we have seen in brief, very rapidly, all the internal causes. Now there are external causes that come and complicate things. If you were in a perfectly harmonious environment where everything was in a state of total and perfect goodwill, then evidently you could lay the blame only on yourself. But the difficulties inside are also outside. You can, to a certain extent, establish an inner equilibrium, but you live in surroundings full of disequilibriums. Unless you shut yourself up in an ivory tower, which is not only difficult but always advisable. But not always advisable. You are obliged to receive what comes from outside. You give and you receive. You breathe in and absorb. So there is a mixture, and that is why one can say that everything is contagious. For you, live in a state of ceaseless vibrations. You emit your own vibrations and you receive in turn the vibrations of others. And these vibrations are of a very complex nature. There are again, we shall say, to simplify the technology, mental vibrations, vital vibrations, physical vibrations, and many others. You give, you receive, you give, you receive. It is a perpetual play. Even granting that there is no bad will, there is necessarily a contagion. And as I was saying just now, all is contagious, everything. You are looking at the result of an accident, you absorb a certain vibration. And if you are ultra sensitive and on top of that are afraid or disgusted, which is the same thing, disgust is only a moral expression of physical fear. The accident can be translated physically in your body. Naturally, you will be told that it is people in a state of nervous instability who have such reactions. It is not quite like that. They are people with the kind of vital oversensitivity. That's all. And it is not always a proof of inferiority, on the contrary. For as you progress spiritually, a certain hypersensitivity of the nerves develops, and if your self-control does not increase along with your sensitivity, all kinds of untoward things may happen to you. Beautiful. You know, we do not know how much we react to the outer. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. Here, Monica, I want to share, one thing which happened to me some 1 year back. when this COVID was in peak. So one of our neighbor, that lady used to go to office, that girl. So Meera went to their house. So I was so scared that this girl is going to office and she has to meet with lot of people. Why Meera wants to go there? If something happens, if throat pains or something, then the how to deal with that. I was so scared for nothing. So what happened? Immediately she came back. Meera came back, and I got severe throat pain because I could feel, my body was vibrating in fear. So I could very well understand. Then after some time, we both of us, Meera and me, sat and we reflected why this problem happened. Then that time, she was saying, "Amma, you were scared." That is why I was thinking that she will get some throat pain. That same throat pain came to me because of that fear. So I can very much, relate with what mother says here. Beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, very well.
Yeah.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you for that experience. Yeah. It's as if we are like a magnet, all the time, ready to just attract many, many experiences towards us. Yeah. Anyone else wants to add on? We also have, on the other hand, mothers telling us that um, in the middle of all the contagion, there are also people where, like, war zones, or where soldiers have to be treated, very infectious areas, and then there are warriors who are serving people there and not really falling ill, even in the midst of ill people, sick people, contagious, diseases. And that's because, again, as you were sharing, that if the intention within is really pure, and there is a solidity in faith, and one is doing or acting selflessly, so that gives us a lot of inner strength and connects us with the deeper unshakability within. So that, in most of the cases, takes care of many, many problems. But I think, as Mother says in prayers and meditations, that uh, for even for the best, innumerable experiences of all sorts are required. So as you were sharing your experience uh, regarding this, I'm sure all of us, we need lots and lots experiences and falls, and again getting sick, so that we realize that actually slowly we can take charge fully of our inner environment. Yeah.
So here the mother says, fear, the disgust is another form of fear, That,
Yeah, physical fears. Yes. Yes.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
beautifully said. Yeah, I didn't know. So many
Mm.
things we don't want to see, you know, like,
Repulsion. Yes. Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I won't see, in on the road any car which is, met with some accident or something, not even very, very big, but very minor also. If any
Mm.
car is touched at the back, I will not see that
Mm.
because I'll fear maybe I will attract that one to me.
That's the thing, because as long as we live with this limited sense of I,
Mm,
it is impossible that we can be rid of these fears, which are, deeply embedded in us. That what will happen to me, this little me.
yeah,
So that's the ignorance. The root is the ignorance, our ignorance, that we don't really know who we truly are. We don't know. And that's what sadhana, I feel, most part of sadhana is about, that to really truly get to know that we are much vaster than this body, much vaster. And, like, it's as if that self is holding this body, and making
yeah,
it alive. So I feel that self realization, if one can say, use that word, it's as if I feel now it's a necessity. Otherwise, these fears are here to stay. As long as I am this limited mentality, personality, how is it possible that I would not be, afraid? But then when I realize that even intellectual understanding begins to happen, that I'm much vaster. I'm not just this little thing that is here, and I'm interconnected with the vaster manifestation. Then I think slowly it has to fall away. That fear has to fall away. It has no place then.
Mm, mm.
Yeah. So in Buddhism, they talk about three root poisons, and the root of uh, the other two poisons. So attachment is one poison, aversion is one poison, aversion or disgust or hate, anger, that would come in this category. Attachment would be this our greed, lust, this wanting, grasping, that would be in the first category. And at the root of all these poisons is ignorance, that we don't know who we truly are. We are ignorant of our true self, our true nature. So, as long as I live in that ignorance, it is impossible that attachment and aversion would not be there. So that's what you were sharing, that I feel that, that fear or not wanting to see the scene of whatever, the accident or whatever. And yeah, so it is just for me to know that there is so much work to be realized and to be done. My purity has to become better, and one has to just march forward and forward. Even if 20, 30 years, I may have spent in this understanding, that is nothing in front of what, as mother says, it's nothing in front of what is to be realized. I think in earlier times, yoga was only maybe first couple of people, or there are only few yogis and sadhus and sages. But now I feel that as if it's like a necessity if we want to, live a life which is meaningful, better, and save this planet on which we are on. I think it's a necessity that each one of us actually becomes a yogi, like not saying in an arrogant way that, oh, I am the yogi, but inwardly, we have to become yogis. Otherwise, there is no way that anything can happen uh, exponentially progressing. So, physical fear, I feel as we grow in purity of the being, thoughts are more, light word, feelings are light word. We are taking care of not to give place for the free play of disturbing emotions, disturbing thoughts. More mindfulness is there in life. I think slowly, of course, that then work can be done also to invoke that presence of immortality in the self, as Mother says. But that comes later. Mother says that don't start with the body. You will be failing. Because if I want to make the body pure, I'm eating sattvic food, I'm leaving eggs and meat and other things. I'm not saying that one should eat meat or not eat meat, but if I'm trying to make the body pure without working first on my thoughts and feelings, it's always going to fall back on me. Because as mother says, that first thoughts and feelings need to be purified, and then the receptacle or the body, that it becomes ready for more purity. So then it will automatically ask you to maybe leave certain foods and eat at this time, or like have lighter meals. So that comes later. The body aspect comes later. Then only it can like be more stable, and now the body demands as if it's ready for that lightness in the body. But before the body is ready, if we give it too much lightness, then we are malnourished, and it can actually give us disease rather than healing. So according to mother, we must start from a purification of thoughts and feelings, and that's what in all our sessions or wherever we talk about stillness in the mind, purity in the thoughts, letting go of disturbing emotions, not identifying with them. So that's the way to move towards that thing. One of the ways. So anything anyone wants to share here on this? I think all of us maybe can resonate with this, that I may be inwardly peaceful, but the moment I am in a chaotic environment, it gets onto me. You know, we are affected, and we will be affected because we are not in an ivory tower. We can't be, because there is a vast interconnection between things, and I can't just have my own enlightenment and just forget about the rest. That's not going to happen. So there are things outside. That's the topic today, interchange with the environment. And that's why last time we were talking about that, why can't we leave even one person in darkness? This is why, because we are so vastly interconnected that if that little darkness, drop of darkness, is maybe somewhere physically far away from me, but it's impossible that it would not impact. Its impact will be there. So that is also our responsibility. And as many of us may feel right now also in our lives, that the more we begin to work on ourselves, the more sensitive one can become. Not necessarily, but one can become. And I feel that we should not be taking it on our ego that, see, I am walking forward in sadhana. See, I have become so sensitive. Not in that sense, because that's another pitfall. But knowing that one becomes more transparent, bare, and one is able to sense, gauge, maybe more than one used to do earlier, being a numb fellow, just walking like a dead person. You give, you receive, you give, you receive. It's a perpetual play, and that's why we talk about satsangat, or being a good company, being in a good company, because we are always giving and receiving. So, who are we giving to? What are we receiving? What are we giving? Who is receiving? What is given back? All that is important as we grow. All is contagious. Everything is contagious. So we look at something good happening, we become like joyful, delighted. We see a child playing, our heart may become full of love. And the moment we may see something not untowardly happening, we don't feel nice about it. So this happens all the time, these ups and downs because of the interchange. Hmm. So this is important. I feel that for those of us who feel that they are becoming maybe more sensitive, not to stop there and think that, okay, mera ho gaya, I've become more sensitive, that's it. But in fact, go further. And here, mother says, I think it's the mother, that for as you progress spiritually, a certain hypersensitivity of nerves develops. And if your self-control does not increase, now this is where we have to work, that if my self control does not increase along with my sensitivity, then I am very prone and vulnerable to things. So this is where a solidity has to come, and total reliance on the mother, or total reliance on the divine. Solidity, like invoking divine in us all the time, being in that protective atmosphere of the mother, since one is becoming more and more open, and all kind of things are there. Yeah, I was reading letters on yoga, and it was written that one, even when one becomes aware of something higher, one is opening up to the higher consciousness. There also, don't think that egoistic consciousness can't come. In fact, you are more open now to cosmic asuric forces. So, pitfalls and traps are there at each moment. And that is why a complete purity in the being and sincerity towards complete reliance on the mothers, on the divine, that would be constantly required, because the more open we become, the more we extend our consciousness. It's not only good things that can happen, but we are exposed to many evil forces also. So when darkness comes, it then can come really, like really dark and thick, because maybe one is opening. So yeah. So mother says that is not the only thing. We have to go forward. So anything here before we go forward, anyone?
Yeah, Monica, I have a small question here. If your self-control does not increase along with your sensitivity, all kinds of untoward things may happen to you. Actually, what does that mean? What is the connection between self-control and your sensitivity?
So what I am feeling here is, say for example, maybe people, I visit someone who is maybe mentally not stable, and maybe to other people who are just walking around, uh, if they walk
Mm,
around that mentally not stable person, maybe they don't feel that much of like something, some force coming to them or some negativity. But
mm,
when I'm using I, it's not doesn't mean me, but just like relating to that person who's become more sensitive. So when we walk towards a person who is mentally unstable or maybe open to other forces, then we sense those forces in that person,
mm,
right?
mm, mm,
Because one is open, one is sensitive, porosity is there, so you sense those
mm,
forces, negative forces. But if I do not dissociate from that immediately and completely being with the mother in that moment,
mm.
then I am also open to those forces which are there. I feel, which are the vibration of which I feel in my body.
Okay. Oh, like
So
that way.
I feel that this would be my self control, that I immediately sense it and I invoke the mother for that person, for myself. This would be self control. Lack of self control would be that I get pulled into my thoughts and feelings about fear and disgust and repulsion, and what may happen, or maybe it can come to me. That would be total loss of control immediately. That I immediately went down the slippery slope. There is no mind control, no mind training, and one is not conscious what one is doing. So for me, that's how I can see that self control would be that not tuning into that frequency of negativity, if the
Mm,
negativity is there, which is there everywhere, but dissociating immediately and praying not only for myself to be protected, but also praying for the other soul to be taken care of. Because when we
okay.
leave the other person like that in negativity, then we don't feel full. So it's good to immediately pray, that may, the light be shining on that person also. May that person also be protected and go forward. So I feel that when we include, embrace, people who we are interacting with, it somehow kind of feels full in the heart, like you've done your whatever came to you. So that's how I'm seeing it. But other people are, please, you're
Oh,
welcome to share. Yeah.
okay. Thank you.
Mm, mm,
I like what came to my mind when you read it was something that happened to me. I remember I'm from a childhood. I have this habit of saying white lies, where I'm not conscious, and I would say, like, for small things I would just lie. For a long time I've done it, and I remember when I read Mother that honesty is a very, I don't remember exactly what she said, but it's like it is one of the very strong tools that you need to have to progress on the path. And my obedient child are always honest. So, and I remember I used to try it, and sometimes always felt that it's convenient to just say a lie, like a white lie. And I went to Pondicherry and I was there, and I just asked the mother that, Mother, I really want to offer this habit to you, and can you please help me uh, to kind of take it away from my consciousness? And then I was conscious of not lying. And it so happened that, and every time I used to conquer that feeling, I used to feel happy that, oh wow, I had a choice, that we have discussed it. Saru have always mentioned this kind of choice that come, that, oh, I have a choice of not to lie. And this happened. And I remember once I lied on a very small thing. Somebody called and I saw the call and I just said, oh yeah, I missed your call. I didn't see. And I knew I had seen it. And it pained me so much, the whole night, that, oh my God, I said a lie. And, I'm like, always, I'm asking mother to help me and still I did it. But what I wanted to say is that in a meeting, there was something with my supervisor. She asked me, like, it's better if we reveal this kind of a plan later, in the later half, and let's just keep it amongst ourselves. And then when the bigger meeting happened, this somebody just brought this up about this thing. And how we have, like, ego takes on the mask that, oh, I have to speak the truth, oh, I have to speak the truth. And I just suddenly said it. And there was such a big repercussion, and with my supervisor, she was not happy with it, that that why did you say it. And I came, and I asked the mother, but I spoke the truth, right? I have to speak the truth. What did I do wrong? I don't know. And I remember, it's like, I don't know, randomly on Facebook I came across this quote where mother says that one should always speak the truth, but in some cases it's just better to keep quiet if you cannot say, but not lie. So I mean, this came to my mind, that as with your sensitivity, your sense of self control, that wisdom as well, that not to like in my case, that kind of wisdom, that oh, now I have to keep saying the truth, but I have a choice of even just not to say anything as well, if in that situation is demanded. So that self control, because ego would always take this mask of oh wow, now do this and do this. So I just resonated with that, that with my sensitivity, my self control should also increase, otherwise it can really go haywired as well. So that incident came to my mind, like, it I resonated with that.
Yeah, thank you. Yes. Yeah, anyone wants to share anything? Add on? If not anything, we can move forward, maybe. Starting from, but that is not the only thing. So anyone who would like to read, please unmute.
Yeah, I'll read. But that is not the only thing. Unfortunately, there is much bad will in the world. And among the different kinds of bad will, there is the small kind that comes from ignorance and stupidity. There is the big kind that comes from wickedness, and there is the formidable kind that is the result of anti-divine forces. So all that is in the atmosphere, I'm not telling you this to frighten you, for it is understood that one should fear nothing, but it is there all the same. And these things attack you, sometimes intentionally, sometimes unintentionally through other people. Others are attacked, they don't know it, and they pass it on without even being aware of it. They are the first victim. They pass the illness on to others. There are in the physical atmosphere, the earth atmosphere, numerous small entities which you do not see, or your vision is too limited, but which move about in your atmosphere. Some of them are quite nice, others very wicked. Generally, these little entities are are produced by the disintegration of vital beings. They pullulate, and these form quite an unpleasant mass. There are some who do very nice things. I believe I told you the story of the little beings who tugged at my sari to tell me that the milk was about to boil and that I had to go and see that it did not boil over. But all of them are not so good. Some of them like to play ugly little tricks, wicked little pranks, and most often it is they who are behind an accident. They like little accidents. They like the whole world of forces that gather round an accident. A lot of people, it is very amusing. And then that gives them their food because, in fact, they feed upon human vitality thrown out of the body by emotions and excitement. So they say, just a small accident. How nice. Many accidents.
So I think this would be part of occultism, and these interplay of very subtle forces which are all around us. We are always engaging with them without even knowing that we are engaging with them. And since Mother was uh, a very high elite occultist, that's what we read, and in the words it comes again and again, that what kind of occultism Mother was engaged in. And these things, I'm sure all of us have some or other experiences of these play of little entities or forces. Like I think once Taru had shared, some key or something was right in front and you could not miss, but somehow as if your vision is blinded and you can't see, you can't locate it. And then suddenly, you see it later. So, and this, I think I feel that if we know now about this through Mother, then it's our actually human responsibility not to uh, really do that what we usually do out of human habit, like becoming really excited or engaged in like a play of accident, or something is happening and lots of commotion is there and something in us becomes very interested, like these news channels and the Sansani case khabar going on all the time on those news channels. People, like, do you know this is happening? Do you know this is happening? So this is how we throw our vitality, out of our body, and how these little entities can amuse themselves. And we are just like a plaything in their hands. And there is nothing good that happens through those kind of discussions and gossips. It's just like a time pass for us, and really a sad kind of a time pass. And vitality, if we go into the word, vitality is not only the human vital, which is the emotional, pranic being, but also vitality is like that gives us vitality, it gives us energy. And this is how we drain energy, by engaging in such gossips, conversations, and maybe accidents where we have nothing to do, nothing at all. We can't even pray. For those of us who become engaged in such kind of scenic, things, we aren't even praying for that person really sincerely and honestly. We are not doing that. So we aren't doing anything good by engaging in such kind of sensationalism, one can say. Do you know what happened to that? Do you know what happened to this person? So rather than just when we get to know about anything, just passing an inward prayer and maybe intending that things may go into more light and the right direction and divine protection. It's I feel that once we know about this, that how we allow ourselves to be a food to these little entities, uh, out of our responsibility, we must not engage in such things. Now that we know. And I think this is also very beautiful. The first part, the mother says that, yeah, where was it? Yeah, this one. No, unfortunately, there is much bad will in the world. I think the first that one becomes aware of bad will, not only in others, but when we turn inward, when we become conscious of inner ripples and movements, we see that how much bad will is there, how much ill will is there. Like it's really saddening to see that kind of a ill will present in us. And then slowly, as we become conscious of it, we can actually transmute. If we are not conscious, then what can we do? But if we know it, that it jumps up and arises from time to time out of as a byproduct of ego consciousness, then we have also the possibility to dissociate from that and not to follow its dictates. And rather than like to negate or as an antidote to the ill will, we pray to whoever we are feeling ill towards, wishing well and happiness for everyone. And this different kinds of bad will. So smaller kind that comes from ignorance and stupidity, where like one is innocently stupid. Like one doesn't even know why one is doing that, but one does it. So ignorance, we don't know really who we truly are. We act out of our stupidities and limited consciousness. And then the bigger kind where knowingly we are very wicked, very clever, manipulative. We know that we are manipulative and yet we are manipulative. So that's a bigger one. Consciously I am engaging in wickedness. I'm wanting ill for the other person or not wanting good for the other person. If not wanting ill, just not wanting good and light for the other person. And we don't even realize that in not wishing well for other person, we actually first do harm to our own self, since all is interconnected. And then the formidable kind, that is the result of anti-divine forces. Now, in this sphere, we can't even know what is happening because, like, something which is just beyond our comprehension, how these anti-divine forces act. And parallelly, I think Mother puts us a remark of caution that don't think, you don't have to be afraid that, oh my God, anti-divine forces, wicked forces, not going there. When we are with the mothers, I think that's our biggest protection. Being with the mother, uniting with mother's consciousness is there is nothing higher than that. Everything is coming out of the mother. So she is the cause of all. Lay all upon her. So she clarifies here for those of us who are reading it for the first time that I'm not telling this to frighten you, for it is understood that one should fear nothing, but not to say that it is not there. It is there. Things happen, many things happen, and if good magic works, then black magic also works. And I think as children, I remember growing up, we used to hear stories of things like some kind of magic thrown on people. Can happens. I think Dr. Basu talks and knows a lot about these kind of things, that they do happen, like possession by evil entities and all kind of stuff. So not to discount that those kind of things are also not there. Yeah. But the moment
Hi.
we, yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, about these entities and the accidents and all things. I guess for this reason, the teachers, spiritual teachers, usually give some exercise to like be very intentional when you walk, just walk. I mean, don't talk in the phone when you are like driving. Yes, I mean just do one thing at a time, because I mean if not we can go in this love accident even when we are cooking. Yes, I like have the attention there, like the present when we are washing dishes or whatever we are doing. If we are like princesses or whatever, we get dressed by someone else, just put attention about this. And um, so I think that is important, no? To if you, I mean, if you don't have a teacher or someone that give you the exercise, yes, try to be very. I mean, I sometimes observe my machine, like my body be in a rush, like being like super fast. Want to be like to do things like efficiency, and then I get in an accident. Yes, I break something or do something bad. So instead of just, I sometimes say to myself, it's okay to be slow. Yes, I mean, it's not problem at all. Even if I speak, I mean, it's okay to speak slow. It's okay to walk slow. I mean, you don't have to go fast like everybody else. Just it's like, okay. So I don't know. I just want to say that. And I have another question, but I lost the thought right now.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, Mother says that almost mostly accidents happen because we become unconscious. Just like you were sharing, that if we are doing anything, we must be conscious, mindful of what we are doing and there where we are. But as we are most often than not, we are lost in our forest of thought, getting wounded and bleeding there, repeating, ruminating, regurgitating, thinking about present commentaries on happenings. So things happen. And Mother says that accidents happen to make us conscious. They tell us that we have been unconscious. And if we can take it that way, that if, like you were sharing, if anything that happens suddenly, and suddenly we realize, oh, yes, I was lost. So then we can again be conscious, and that's it. But yeah, I think many experiences are required before we become fully conscious. Yeah, anyone wants to add on?
I remember the other thought. Yes, as I don't remember the name of the lady that was sharing that that the mother say that sometimes it's necessary to keep silence and not say the totally true. I am completely agree with that. But I mean, also remember, if you're going to keep this silence, sometimes it's going to bother you in one moment. It's going to that something that is hiding that you hide is going to bother you. So you have to write it down. Maybe, I mean, burn in the fire the letter or whatever it is. You don't want that anybody read it. But you have to take it out from your system in one or another way. Just because if not, it's going to be like there. I mean, you are going to ruminate it with that. You are going to the subconscious is going to play with that in a very specific way. These bad forces take advantage of our our limitations, our like secrets, our everything that we that we can give it protects. They take advantage.
Yeah, yeah. I think this goes on for a very, very long time, this constant coming up of subconscious thoughts and disturbing. So that's why with Mothers and Sri Aurobindo's yoga, I feel it's very, very important as and when one becomes ready, since everyone has readiness at a different time, to be at will able to still the mind. and to maintain that stability and stillness for as long as one wants, to be able to have that much of mastery. It's not that we don't have to think all the time, we have to be thought free, not like that. We, of course, can think, but at will, one must be able to, like, okay, complete silence, and you have the silence. You know, so, and this has to be cultivated. It doesn't come like just like, like a magic. If we want it, if now we feel that in our life we are feeling the need of silence in the mind, then we have to cultivate it. And I've been like just doing some uh, reading here. It's very good if for those of us who feel ready, very good to focus also. I know that with Mother's Yoga, we focus in the depths of our hearts, but also to focus above the head, like as I was sharing last time, like a little above the head, because that actually stations our consciousness out of the body. It's like in the subtle body, not in the body, lodged in the ego consciousness. So for those of us, and that really brings a lot of silence and calm in the being. So those of us who feel inclined and ready, from time to time, if we can say for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, just Mother says like, imagine that you have a mirror facing upwards. Above your head, you have a mirror which is facing upwards, and like that, you can stay for some time, just like open, receptive to something upwards, because there is no end to this subconscious regurgitations of thoughts, feelings, storylines, no end to this. And we can be sure, like we have to live with this now, not like fight with it. Oh my God, it is still there. We have to know that as long as body consciousness is there, some of the other ripples of subconscious or unconscious thoughts and willings and feelings will be there. Now, knowing that, validating that, how best can I move forward? So not to get frustrated again and again when these thoughts come again and disturb, hmm? But to change the station of consciousness. That really helps to still. Yes, Nandini.
I have a question here that was coming in my mind from last few days. Was we talk about self mastery in integral yoga. It's very important. I think in any spiritual discipline they talk about self mastery. But with me, what I feel is that there's a lot of tamas. Like some days I feel okay. I want to work out. I've made a time. I'm able to do it. It is something that needs to be done for my body. And after fifth day, I feel it's okay, not go today. And then I fight again. But that tamas doesn't really leave, even getting up in the morning. And yesterday I was sharing in Taru's session about, like I always ask, like I wanted to get up early because it's nice, I can do my pranayama or something like that. But I never had a habit of waking up early. So I asked Mother, please help me. And it so happened that I prayed, and I was able to actually, my body without any alarm clock, I was able to open my eyes at 7. And I didn't even have to see the clock. I knew it's that time when I have to wake up. But tamas was so long that I said, oh, I have another 20 minutes till the alarm clock, and then again I sleep. This tamas, and I thought maybe I'll ask it in the group and get some suggestions how to really overcome it.
Yeah, anyone wants to share anything?
I don't know. In Occident, in the school of where I coming from, I don't know the word that you are speaking, Tamas. I don't understand very well, but maybe it's like this
It's
kind of
inertia. The dullness and laziness and
inertia. Okay.
inertia. Yes.
So it's like usually these teachers say we have intervals in our life, yes, in our day, in our week, and we have to observe these intervals. And it's when we have the decision to go up, yes, or that inertia is going to take us down, yes. So when this inertia takes you, you just say, okay, it's okay. I mean, don't bother. I mean, you just like, because if you go on the press and you're just like, oh, I didn't do it, then you are going to be depressed like all week, because you didn't do it. This is, in my case, is how I do it. Just I leave it because the body is asking me to just. I mean, it's fine, It's for some reason it's asking that this time maybe needs silence, needs something is needed there. You can ask him, or the mental or the emotional. Sometimes we don't know what is taking us to bad, no, or taking us to not do it certain exercise. And when you are ready, you begin again, slowly. I mean, don't force yourself, just like 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and you awake. You begin to awake and you create the habit again. Yes. And yes, it's we always go down, with the full moon or with I mean, certain physical things in the body, in the woman's is the days, yes. So then the days forces to be more like in rest, yes, like to be like peaceful, and so we have to accept that also, this jing part. I mean, it's not always inertia, it's maybe part of things that we need in order to grow up. Well, it's what I observed. I'm not sure if it's like this.
Yeah, thank you, Claudia. Anyone want to add on to this? Okay, so one thing which is coming to me is Mother says that even first of all, I completely agree, resonate with Claudia that these phases will come as long as this body consciousness is there and the matter is still untransformed. Tamas is not going to go anywhere. It's here to stay. So not to get frustrated when we are tamasic. I think, and what was coming to me was Mother to counteract the tamas or to move forward when it is there. Mother says that even passions are preferable than tamasic inertia. I think for many of us that works nicely. So if there is something which you can be passionate about, like people fall in love, the so-called romantic love, say Bollywood, Hollywood love only, but people do fall in love, that kind of love, say lust or love, whatever, and that gives them, that takes them from the tamas. So otherwise, you would not be taking a bath, but to meet the lover, you will take a shower and travel 80 miles or whatever is required because you have to see somebody, right? So, one thing which is coming is to put yourself in something in which you are passionate about. Because usually we are doing works which maybe we are not really passionate about, right? Engaged in day-to-day job and home and job, and maybe the job now I've grown out of that job. I don't like it, So there I feel the tamas. But for something which calls my attention, which calls my energy, for that I would not feel tamas. I would like enthusiastically get up in the morning and do it. Like many of us here in India, many uh, people of my mother's age, or those kind of people in our earlier generation, they would very enthusiastically get up in the morning, especially on Karwa Chauth days, and 4 o'clock they are taking their showers. Why? Why would they do that? I mean, to some of us it may feel stupid. I mean, why would you take a shower 4 o'clock in the morning and eat? But they do it. And why do they do it? Because they have passion, they have intensity, devotion, whatever, call whatever. I'm not going into the detail. That can be another topic of discussion. But wherever we are doing anything out of our heart, there tamas has no place to stay. So why not involve our days and moments in those things which are callings of our heart? Because there I feel, in my case, I feel that whenever I'm doing anything which like really gives me a lot of delight, tamas is nowhere to be seen. And when that thing is not there, then of course there are days with tamas, dullness. But when, like for example, some relative calls who are you are very close to, loved one calls in the middle of the night, 2 o'clock, and maybe it's your best time to sleep. But then all the tamas will be just totally shaken off because that person needs you. You know. So where is the tamas then? So I feel that part of like putting ourselves into something where we have love and heart and intensity, that can help. And that's the different matter, that through passions there can be another growth, because passions also are, if we see gradation, passions are also blind. So that also depends what am I passionate for. And it may actually put me, like, I may fall totally flat on my face one day because of that passion. But that would be better than tamas, because through that falling on my face, I will actually learn, grow, progress. But in tamas, we usually stagnate. So that's why I feel Mother says that passions are preferable. To become passionate, one idea is that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything anyone wants to add on? So I have to leave today a little early, so we can end there at this paragraph that we just read. And next time we can take from microbes their origin. So anything here anyone wants to add on? Any last comments?
Yeah, so just a quick thing. What was coming to my mind while Nandini was mentioning about waking up in the morning, well, all of us would have gone through this, and me too. So I have noticed in my own personal life that whenever this need has been very intense within me, and I have, before sleeping, I have closed my eyes and with all my intensity planted a very strong will that please make me wake up at this time. And I put a very concrete figure, very clear in my mind. When I'm very clear in my mind that this is, I want to wake up at 5, 6, 7, whatever. And I have planted, first that clarity has to be within me. And that intensity that I want to do it. And then that strong will, planting that will, because if and I do it sometimes when I do it, because when I'm very intently, when I'm wanting it with all my intensity, when I do it, I have seen that it has happened. And sometimes I even say that don't just wake me up, make sure that I am out of my bed, that I should feel fresh, I should not feel lazy, because many times it just happens that you are woken up, yet yeah, that inertia, that laziness, or that tamas, that you want to sleep 4 minutes or 20 more minutes. And when I have added this on because I really wanted it, then it has been, I'm wide awake, fresh, and I'm ready to be out of bed. So this has been my own personal experience. So sometimes we want it very badly, sometimes we do not want it so badly. So it is our own willing, our own wanting, our own intent. And I think planting a strong will and praying hard enough really, really has helped me. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, very true. Thank you. So let's close for today. Just taking last moment of silence before we leave the session to share and dedicate the merit with all the sentient beings. May we all have contentment in our hearts, peace in our hearts, simplicity in our mind, and lots of progress and joy in our life. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining.
Thank you
Bye.
so much, Monica. Thanks, everyone. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.